Hey everyone. I think I just caught Roaring Kitty pumping and dumping his own position. So get this, I think he bought the calls on Friday and then sold them. So it's about 9:13 Monday, and I just figured this out. So what you're looking at is the SEP 22 and a half calls from Roaring Kitty. And again, I don't know it's him. I can only assume. So please don't hate me that I am assuming, but I can only go with public information and obviously using the big boy scanner. We can find that information. So let's pull up Roaring Kitty, and you can see the $1.7 million of the SEP 13 22 and a half calls. So that was a 10,000 lot. If we go back to our trade platform, and you can see right here, there's only 12,642 in open interest on that line. But here's what's very, very fishy. And the Thinkorswim Think Back data is messed up. So that's the only reason why it can't be 1,000%. So right here, 22 and a half calls. So he bought the calls, and let's just do a graph on these. He bought the calls at 170-ish. I'll just post them so you can see I'm doing it from a clean chart. 1 minute chart here. Let's take off time and sales. There we go. So he bought the calls right here. And it will show us on the big boy scanner. We also had multiple orders on the penny option scanner, probably momentum flow. Obviously, when someone buys that many contracts, they're going to spook the market. 11:42 a.m. So 11:42 a.m. right there, we see 10,000 calls traded. The average price, I do have the raw data that I get. Let me see if I can find it here. That I cannot show the raw data because the CBOE will get mad at me and will cancel me. I don't want to get canceled. They bought at the calls at 172. That's about, again, 10,059 contracts total. So that's about $1.74 million. But here's what's interesting. If you look at the afternoon at 12:19 and 12:22, you have 5,000 contracts, 5,020, 5,019 hit the bid. So you buy on the ask, you sell on the bid. So he bought here, just like the big boy scanner showed, 11:42, and it appears he sold here. Now, I can't tell exactly if he sold. On the raw data, it says he closed 1.12 and 1.6 million for the average price, let's just say at 230. So if we do the math, let's go get the handy dandy calculator out. 10,000 contracts, and he sold at average price, let's just say 230. So he made about $500,000 on the trade. A little over 1.7 million, sold 2.3 million, about 500,000 in gains in less than an hour, right? It appears that way. Now, the reason why I say it appears that way is if you look at open interest, if these calls were bought, that'd be 10,000 options added to open interest. And then let's say he bought these 5,000, that'd be 20,000 calls added to open interest. Well, if we go to the option chain, and I don't know why my computer update has a wolf, it looks like. Hey, whatever. If we go to the option chain, you can see there's only 12,642 of the SEP 13 22 and a half calls. So 10,000 contracts, if he bought 10,000 more, be basically times two, that'd be 20,000 if they held. If he held, open interest should be about 20,000, not including all the other contracts that traded this day. If you look the day before, open interest was about 4,000 on the line. So let's just say, give or take, 4,000 open interest, that's a change of 8,000 contracts. If he bought, let's say, 10,000 of them and then held them all, that would be 14,000 contracts that should be held in open interest. So I don't want to assume, but GameStop has earnings tomorrow after the closing bell, apparently. Still can't get a for sure date on it. But if I was a betting man, which I am, it appears Roaring Kitty made $500,000, took his profits, and ran in less than an hour on Friday. That's what it looks like. Could he have other positions that he's holding? Sure. You do have the SEP 1324 calls, nearly 500,000. We could just look these up very briefly. Why not? Again, I hate saying this because people are going to think I'm crazy, but 400 grand, it's a lot of money, but in terms of size that we're talking about, it's not like a huge amount of money for GameStop relative to the total number of option volume and contracts it trades. So these are the 24 and a half calls. I just want to make sure I'm 24 calls. The weekly 24 calls. That's the wrong one. Let's pull these up. 24 calls. I think I caught him. I think I caught the bastard. Why is it doing the 24 and a half calls? All right, there we go. So these calls look to be bought and stuck. But what scares me is it could be someone who saw that $1.7 million bet and just said, you know what, we think the stock's going to squeeze. We're just going to go throw 428 grand down. These are the options that are iffy on. Obviously, if you're bullish, you like seeing them. But this, I think this got the market in squeeze mode, and these are momentum flows after. We'll see what flow hits today, but you can see, I mean, most of the options moved already. We'll see what happens between now and earnings, but in my opinion, and if I was in his position, you know, taking $500,000 in profits in, what, about 45 minutes or so on a Friday afternoon, it's a nice chunk of change. I get why he would do it. I get why he would close out his contracts. You don't have to hold through the earnings risk. But again, we'll see. I just wanted to keep you informed. I know I feel like a market detective here. Hopefully everyone's able to participate, but maybe just take this as a caution factor. Obviously, if you see more flow today in the millions, that's good. But if not, you know, maybe you just don't go all in on earnings like you might have thought prior to this video. Just want to always use proper risk management. Obviously, there is risk involved in markets. I try to be straight up and transparent as possible and give you guys the most informed information in a timely manner. I'm out.